What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Weekly GCap, the only source you'll ever need to catch up on all the gaming news from the last week. And as always, if there's only a few stories that interest you, feel free to use the chapters down in the description or just scroll through there in the time bar and they should show up there. First things first, let's go ahead and go over all the major game releases from the last week. So March 14th, we have DC Dark Legion, which is a new mobile/PC game. MLB The Show 25 if you have the digital deluxe edition, otherwise you gotta wait until the 18th. And then Out of the Park Baseball 26. On March 13th, we have Beyond the Ice Palace 2. March 12th, Fate Reawakened and Metal Bringer, and then on March 11th we had Centum, Rise of the Ronin for PC, and Wonder Stop. Next up, Mortal Shell is free on Epic Games, and World of Warships Anniversary Party Favor is also free on Epic Games. So these will be free until March 20th at 11 a.m. EST, so you might as well go redeem them because there's no better price than free. Next up, I got the March PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium games for you guys. So in the Extra tier, we have UFC 5, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Captain Tsubasa: Rise of New Champions, Mobile Suit Gundam Battle Operation Code Fairy, Bang on Balls Chronicles, what a great name, You Suck at Parking, Siberia: The World Before, and then in the premium tier we have Armored Core Project Phantasma, Armored Core Master of Arena, and then Arcade Paradise VR. Next up, some new games were added to Nintendo Switch Online, those being Mario's Picross and Donkey Kong. Both of these are available on the Game Boy app now. Next up, the Death Stranding 2 release date was finally announced. Man, I'm so excited for this game. So, this is coming from Gamatsu, quote, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach will launch for PlayStation 5 on June 26th for $69.99 USD. Publisher Sony Interactive Entertainment and developer Kojima Productions announced. Pre-orders will open on March 17th. The standard edition will be $69.99 USD, the digital deluxe edition will be $79.99 USD, and then the collector's edition will be $229.99. But it does come with a ton of stuff, and from everything that I've seen, it has like statues and all the other typical collector's edition stuff. It's definitely worth the investment if you're a fan of Death Stranding. I'm not gonna lie, I'm thinking about picking it. I'm thinking about picking up the collector's edition. Next up, Killing Floor 3 was delayed. This coming from Gamatsu, quote, Tripwire Interactive has delayed horror first-person shooter Killing Floor 3 from its previously planned March 25 release date till later in 2025. A specific release date was not announced. It will be available for PS5, Xbox Series, and PC via Steam and Epic Game Store when it does release. All existing pre-orders will be canceled and refunded. Here is the full message from Tripwire Interactive on the delay. Quote, Dear Killing Floor fans, we've made the decision to postpone Killing Floor 3's launch to an undecided date later in 2025. After taking the time to gather and discuss feedback from our recent closed beta, we've realized that we missed the mark. Our goal isn't to just make Killing Floor 3 an ambitious step forward for the franchise, but also to maintain the core experience that you've come to know and love. We're working together on a timeline to address many of the common issues players had during the beta, including performance, stability, user interface, user experience, lighting, and weapon feel. While it's too early to say which fixes will be implemented by launch, we can confirm that an update allowing you to independently select your perk class and character is planned for post-release. We look forward to another opportunity to show you a more polished version of Killing Floor 3, and when we're ready to share more details, you will be the first to know. Until then, we thank you for your continued patience and overwhelming support. Sincerely, the Tripwire Interactive Development Team, end quote. So personally, I did not get to play the beta, though I did hear that things were a little rocky for one reason or other, just, due to various things. So hopefully everything will be ironed out by launch, then hopefully everybody will have a better time with the game. Next up, the Last of Us DualSense controller was announced. Now, this one looks pretty cool. I've been loving all the DualSense controllers that PlayStation's been putting out, but anyway, this is coming from PlayStation blog, quote, the DualSense wireless controller, The Last of Us limited edition, will be available in limited quantities for $84.99 USD, €84.99 Euro, or $74.99, I'm not sure what that currency is. Pre-orders start on March 14th, 2025 at 10 a.m. local time at direct.playstation.com where available, as well as participating retailers with launch on April 10th, 2025. The exact launch date and availability for the controller may vary by country/region, end quote. So $84.99, definitely a bit of a steeper asking price, but at the same time, the standard controllers are already $69.99 as it is, so what's another $15, right? But this one, just like many of the other limited edition DualSense controllers, does look pretty cool, and as a huge Last of Us fan, I'm definitely picking this one up. Next up, BlizzCon was announced for 2026. This coming from news.blizzard.com. Quote, BlizzCon is back. The ultimate celebration of our games and the community that unites us is returning to the Anaheim Convention Center Saturday, September 12th and Sunday, September 13th in 2026. For 2026, alongside BlizzCon staples like opening ceremony, in-depth panels, the Dark Moon Fair, friendly competition, hands-on gameplay, and more, we aim to meaningfully elevate this iconic celebration and create an unforgettable experience for all who take part in it. We are building this event just like we've build our games, with a deep commitment to our players, with respect for your connections to our universes, and as a celebration of the strength of the bonds formed through shared adventure. See you at BlizzCon, end quote. So I need to look this up real quick. Was BlizzCon for 2025 even announced, or are they just announcing 2026 like a whole year out? Okay, so after looking into it a bit more, yes, BlizzCon is skipping 2025, so they were announcing it for 2026 just to say, hey, yes, it is canceled for this year, but it will be returning in 2026. So hopefully, you know, if they're taking a whole year off, I'm gonna assume that they're cooking up something good. Next up, Chrono Trigger has officially celebrated its 30th anniversary. If you haven't played Chrono Trigger before, there is many ways to play this game, whether it's on the original Super Nintendo, the PS1 version, the DS. There is no wrong way to experience Chrono Trigger. All that matters is that you experience Chrono Trigger. It is one of the best, not just RPGs of all time, but one of the best games of all time. Whether we're talking about the story, the music, the atmosphere, the characters, the lore, the world building, everything about Chrono Trigger it's absolutely perfect. It's perfect. Not to mention that classic SNES art style. If you haven't played Chrono Trigger before, you definitely have to. And I do have to say, if you do end up playing, for example, like the SNES version, make sure you go into YouTube and look up the PS1's version cutscenes, because it actually has like full-on anime cutscenes in the PS1 version. It is unfortunate though, because the PS1 version does have a longer loading time, so it's like, okay, do you want the anime cutscenes with longer loading times, or do you want quicker loading and no anime cutscenes on, like, you know, the SNES version, for example? A lot of people kind of hold the DS version in high regard and say that's the best one. Me personally, I always gravitate towards the SNES version just due to nostalgia, and that's the first way that I play the game. And then I just, you know, end up going on YouTube and rewatching the, you know, the anime cutscenes as I make my way through the game. But seriously, man, happy birthday to Chrono Trigger, man. March 11th, 1995 is when it originally released, and it's an all-time classic. It's timeless. This is a game that will live on for generations to come. Next up, The Last of Us Season 2 release date was announced. So, Season 2 will be debuting on HBO Max April 13th, 2025. Here's the thing. I love The Last of Us. I love The Last of Us Part 2. The thing is, though, I'm not ready to cry like that again, okay? The first time I played Last of Us Part 2, dude, I was sobbing like a baby, and you know, now that I've played Last of Us Part 2 a couple times, maybe I don't know. Let's be honest, I'm still gonna sob like a baby, and I don't know if I'm ready for it. And Nico, let's go golfing. Next up, a crossplay update for Palworld was announced. This coming from Gamatsu. Quote, Pocket Pair will release the crossplay update for open world survival crafting monster collecting game. Gosh, that's a mouthful. Palworld in late March, the developer announced. The update will enable multiplayer between all versions of the game, as well as world transfers for pals. Palworld is available now in early access for PS5, Xbox Series, Xbox One, and PC via Steam and Microsoft Store. It is also available via Game Pass, end quote. So I wasn't sure if this game was actually going to get crossplay or not. In one sense, I was kind of surprised that it didn't, but considering it was like kind of indie game, I was like, okay, that makes sense. Crossplay isn't always the easiest thing to get implemented into your game. You know, it would have been cool to see if this game could have released on Nintendo Switch and then had crossplay going there, but something's telling me that release might just never happen. Next up, Scopely has acquired Niantic Games, the developers of Pokemon Go. This is actually kind of crazy. So, this is coming from Scopely.com. Quote, Scopely to acquire Niantic Games business, which includes Pokemon Go, one of the most successful mobile games of all time. Acquisition will welcome Niantic's entire game development team's beloved games, Pokemon Go, Pikmin Blue, Monster Hunter Now, and companion apps and services like Campfire and Wayfarer to Scopely's diverse video game portfolio, highlighting the company's ongoing commitment to community-driven social experiences. The deal, valued at $3.5 billion, and honestly, I wasn't sure if I was expecting it to be higher or lower considering the success of Pokemon Go even to this day, but I mean, regardless, $3.5 billion is a lot of money. We'll bring Niantic's entire team of exceptional game makers and category-leading games, Pokemon Go, Pikmin Bloom, and Monster Hunter Now to Scopely's portfolio, among other apps and live experiences. At Scopely, the Niantic game teams will continue to pursue their ambitious roadmaps led by their longtime game studio leaders, Kei Kawai and Ed Wu. End quote. So at least the leadership is still going to be staying there. Obviously, though, unfortunately, when it comes to these acquisitions, I'm sure layoffs are going to be happening, whether they happen publicly or behind the scenes, when it comes to redundancies and such. Hopefully, that doesn't end up being the case, but it is unfortunately a possibility. Regardless, the news of Scopely acquiring Pokemon Go is just kind of crazy. For those that don't know, Scopely is one of the biggest mobile game developers / publishers. You know, they're behind Monopoly Go, for example, which is like one of the biggest mobile games and one of the most profitable mobile games. So it's hard to say if this will have any effect on the games when it comes to content, monetization, etc. etc. Maybe things will just continue as usual. We'll see, though. You know, mobile games are obviously quite infamous for being a bit scummy when it comes to microtransactions as is. So now that they've been acquired by one of the biggest mobile game publishers, I'm just hoping that that doesn't spell doom for these games when it comes to their monetization, setups. Next up, a PlayStation Lease service, aka a rental service, was announced. This coming from Eurogamer. Quote, you can now lease, aka rent, a PS5 along with the likes of a PSVR 2 set and Sony's handheld remote player, the PlayStation Portal, in the UK. This leasing service debuted in Japan, and quickly became a hit. As Ed reported this morning, GEO's PS5 rental service in Japan is fully booked across its 400 stores nationwide, and now it is the UK's turn. Sony's PS Direct UK website lets you rent a digital-only PS5 for €11 a month, or a PS5 with a disc drive for €12 a month. At least I think those are euros in the UK. Sorry if I'm getting that wrong. Stump up €19 a month and you can rent a PS5 Pro. If you want a PSVR 2, it's €18.50 a month or €20 a month if you want access to Horizon Call of the Mountain 2. PlayStation Portal is €650 a month. Those interested in going down the lease route can choose a 12, 24, or 36-month term contract, although there is also a rolling monthly option if that's more your thing. As for the products available through the service, they include the PlayStation 5 Pro, the PS5 Digital Edition, the PS5 console, Model Group Slim, DualSense wireless controllers, the standard PlayStation 5 console, the PlayStation Portal, the PSVR 2, and then also a bundle of the PSVR 2 that includes Horizon Call of the Mountain, and then the DualSense Edge. In an FAQ section on the website, Sony states all lease agreements are made exclusively with Raylo, which I guess is like a leasing company over in the UK. Quote, all transactions, communications, and support services related to your device lease will be provided directly by Raylo. If you signed up to a lease through PlayStation Leasing and you have any issues with your device or your lease, you should contact Raylo for support in the first instance. Don't worry, Raylo offers a fair wear and tear policy, Sony states. It's okay to return your device with obvious signs of use, such as a couple of deep scratches, small dents, discoloration, or changes in the paintwork. End quote. So this is quite interesting. I also feel like it's an easy route for theft. You know what I mean? Like somebody leases a PlayStation, but then they don't return it. Obviously, it would be pretty easy to track those people down through like credit card info and, IDs and stuff. Like it would be a very easy process to track them down. But I just feel like there's going to be a lot of people that try to keep the PS5 or maybe try to lease them and like sell them online or just something scummy like that. I mean, again, those people are getting in trouble really fast, but despite that, some people are stupid, so I think it's still something that's going to happen anyway. Regardless, I just thought this was interesting and worth mentioning, especially if you live in the UK. If you've been looking to get your hands on a PS5 but don't exactly have enough money to outright buy one, this is now an option. And finally, I just wanted to do a recap of the Nacon Connect that took place. It's like a showcase just showing off a bunch of games coming out from that publisher. So first things first, they showed off the RevoSim RS Pure. This is Nacon's first racing wheel. It also has some accessories like a handbrake and a gear shift. Then they showed off Cthulhu, the Cosmic Abyss, which is a first-person psychological thriller investigating an occult case. After that, The Mound Omen of Cthulhu, a co-op horror game. Styx Blades of Greed, it's a new Styx game launching fall 2025. Ren Sport, which is set to launch on PS5 and Xbox Series sometime in 2025. RoboCop Rogue City Unfinished Business, which is a standalone sequel coming summer 2025. Edge of Memories, an action JRPG releasing fall 2025. The Occultist, a mystery game launching in 2026. The Fading of Nicole Wilson, which is a horror adventure coming in 2025. Hell Is Us, they just showed off some more gameplay of the game, and that game just, it looks so good, man. I can't wait to play it. Dragonkin the Banished, now in early access. Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown Season 3 coming March 19th, 2025, so just a few days after this video goes out. And then Raven's Watch is adding 2 new heroes, Romeo and Juliet. And that's the showcase. A lot of really cool stuff, especially I was not expecting RoboCop to get anything more. I was expecting them to just launch the original game and that was probably just going to be that, like we've had a few Terminator games over the years and this is really like the first stab at like a AAA RoboCop game and, I figured they'd launch that and that would be that. But the fact that the game and, like the IP is getting more support and is looking to get like a whole nother release here, like that is just freaking awesome. I am so excited to dive in and play. But anyways, that's all the stories that I have for you guys this week, which means that it's time for me to get out of here. New episodes of WGC go live every single Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. I love to have you here. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing day and an amazing weekend. Stay beautiful. I love you all. Peace.